So she just stands there like nothing is happening. Like she heard her favorite Barry Manilow song and she's easing herself and calming herself down from a stressful day and about to go to sleep. Everybody is dying around her. The volcano, Mount Doom, is blowing up and she just stands there. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Theta J. Back like I left something, and I'm glad you're here. Yes, I'm glad you're here. And we're about to break down episode 6 of The Rings of Power. And I'm going to shock you guys. Even though this was still boo-boo hot trash, I'm still going to shock you on this one. Because I'm going to tell you this. Some things that was written in the story was actually pretty good. It's just the fact that this has no connection at all to J.R.R. Tolkien. If they would have named this Dookie Pow Juice Show, then yes, this would have been absolutely fine. I wouldn't even mind if you shared some characters' names, but not people like Galadriel and Elrond. But if you call it Big Pile of Boo-Boo Dookie Trash in a candy bag, I would have been fine with that, okay? But I'm about to break down everything from the story to the acting to the episodes to the villains to the characters, all that, the plot. So this is what I need you to do, because I'm going to show you some things that you missed. I'm going to show you that. So this is what I need you to do from the beginning to this video all the way to the very end. I need you to watch it, all of it, because it helps me out a lot and it helps you too because it brings more people in that feel just like you. Also, what I need you to do, I need you to like, I need you to subscribe, and I need you to hit that notification bell, because every time you hit that notification bell, it makes your boy Theta J feel oh so good and oh so swell. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the review. Let's kick it off with the story. So we kick off this story. The orcs, they come to the abandoned watchtower and they're walking around, creeping around, and all of a sudden the black elf Adonor comes in and he pretty much wreck shops on everybody up in the tower. One elf alone goes in on an entire army of orcs. Yeah, that happened. That actually happened. And the people in the crowd, the Sutherland people, they're like, hey, this is a victory. This is a victory. Yeah. See, they're trying to track these people down because they're looking for this sword. This sword is the key to something. We'll talk about that later. I don't know how to freak this sword played into anything into the Tolkien lore, because a sword like this never existed in the books. And this is the thing about J.R.R. Tolkien. He created a lot of things, a lot of world building, a lot of character building to let you know what is this, what is that. And a sword like this has never existed before. No, not at all. But we will talk about that later. So we carry ourselves into the show. This show, thankfully enough, is not focused on the Harfoots, and it's not focused on the dwarves, and it's not focused on Elrond and what he's trying to do. We save the people and save the trees, because if he don't save the trees, then the elves will die. And why do I sound like Bill Cosby? I want to put him pop. That's how I feel about this show. I'd rather be watching Bill Cosby with his pudding pops and all that type of stuff. I'd rather watch that. But we go into the show and a big war is brewing. Now, I kind of got vibes where I thought it was going to be like Rohan at Helm's Deep, where they was waiting on the orc army to come, and I thought they was biting them. But I'm gonna have to give props where props is due, because they did this battle quite different between the orcs and the Sutherland people. Because in the beginning of that battle, you had the orcs coming up. They had torches. You knew they was coming for the Sutherland people. The Sutherland people had moved on to another abandoned village. And what the freak is going on with all these abandoned villages? I guess the orcs raided them and then they left and then they about to come back again, which doesn't make sense in itself. But the army came up. Adenor and Browen, I think that's her name, the love interest of Adenor. They got the people hyped up. They got the people excited. And they said, hey, this is coming. Fight hard. Blah, blah, blah. You know, the Braveheart type of battle before any battle. So the people won't be scared. They'll be hyped up to kill and murder people. You know how it go. And so the orcs had torches. They was heading on to the town. And they started to attack the city. Now, this is where I give props what props is due. Because when you seen that first wave of orcs fighting the Sutherland people, I thought those was orcs. Go back and watch it again. But those were not orcs. Those was actually the Sutherland people who betrayed the other Sutherland people. You have a group of Sutherland people out there who wanted to worship Sauron, who was all about the evil side. They said, we cannot beat these ugly freakers. So how about this? Let's join them because we're scared we're gonna die. Well, the betrayal people, they died anyway because the good Sutherland people destroyed them. Now they was looking around. They was like, hey man, these are not orcs. When they discovered that this wasn't orcs, the real orcs came out of the shadows and started hitting with bow and arrows. And that's when a battle ensued. And that's when the real battle happened. And it was chaotic. It was crazy. And it was, I'm going to tell you like this. I'm going to tell you how the battle really was. It was lackluster. It was very lackluster. It was nothing that we haven't seen before, and it still doesn't have that J.R.R. Tolkien feel that Peter Jackson did with the battles that we saw in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. These battles really stood out. They was very different. They had that fantasy feel to it. This just I don't know. It's just stuff that we already seen before. So the good Sutherland people, they was getting beat down by the orcs. They was getting murdered. They was getting killed. Adenor got captured by Adar, and it turns out in this show that Adar is actually the first elf who turned others into orcs. They took the elves, Morgoth took the elves, mutilated them, and started turning them into orcs. They call them Morendor. And I know I butchered that name, but I tried so hard to remember that in the show. But he is the first of those. He was looking, of course, for this sword that Theo had. You know Theo from Bill Cosby? No, I'm talking about Theo in the show. And they wouldn't tell him. But then he found out eventually where it was. No, he didn't. That's a plot that I'm going to tell you later on. And all of a sudden, when it looked like the Sutherland people out there was dying, you had the Numenor people come in with their ugly suits. You know, the suits that show man boobs. Yeah, you never thought about that. And now you cannot get that sight out of your head. And I'm happy because I'm reviewing this show and there's a lot of things I can't get out of my head now. So you're going to suffer right there with me. Yeah. So, of course, Numenor comes in, wipes the floor out of Adar's army, and it looks pretty good for the good guys. So you had Galadriel and you had Halbrand chase Adar down. He was running like a little bear. So once they capture him, this is when they got real funny. Now I started giving props in the beginning, in the middle of the show, but this, when they pulled the rug from me, once again, it made me realize this show is a disgrace to J.R.R. Tolkien's lore and anything that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote. So they start talking to him, and he's giving an explanation of where he comes from, what is his place with Morgoth, and his place with Sauron. Now, he could have lied, or he could have not. He said he was the one that killed Sauron. Now, this is the thing about it. Adar in the books does not exist. What killed Sauron was he died with the Numenorians when Eru Elevatar, the god of the Middle Earth, got mad at Numenor because they started getting cocky at the point where Ephraim tried to go to Valinor and be a king or try to take over Valinor, and Eru was like, this is enough. I'm going to kill you all, this whole island. And Sauron happened to be there, but Sauron knew his body was destroyed, but his spirit cannot be destroyed because he is a spirit. He is a Maiar like Gandalf. Now, of course, this is the funny thing that happened in the show. Galadriel, she starts getting mad. She started getting angry, listening to him, talking about she's going to wipe out his kind and all this stuff. Now, I want to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. Galadriel is not like this in the books. Not at all. But they want to give you that feminist, leading lady, strong woman that can destroy, have vengeance, and can defeat anybody and any man that steps in her way. Now, she got carried over with herself. Halbrand had to calm her down. Halbrand looked at the Southern people, and Browin looked at his symbol, and she said, are you the king to be? Aragorn vibes. And he said, yeah, I'm your king. And they like, oh yeah, he's our king, he's our king. And then it switches over to one of the traitor guys that betrayed the Sutherland people. One of the traitors. He took the sword. He had the sword the whole time. The sword that everybody's looking for. He put it in a rock like King Arthur. Turned the key and all this water started rushing out. The water started rushing out and the water ended up going towards Mount Doom. Mount Doom is where Sauron is going to make the ring, the one ring where he's going to forge the ring. The water goes in there, start causing explosions everywhere, start killing the people in the Sutherlands. And this is what blew my mind. When I was about to give episode 6, the first props ever as a good episode, they ruined it. And I'm going to tell you how they ruined it. Because it's chaos going on all around everybody. Everybody getting destroyed. Everybody's running for their lives. Except for Galadriel. Galadriel is looking at the destruction coming towards her. Because when a mountain blows up, it's like nuclear bombs are going off. She's not running. She's not helping anybody. She just closes her eyes and be the strongest woman she can ever be and let the mountain destroy her. And I hope this Galadriel, not the Galadriel we know from the Peter Jackson movie, not the Galadriel from the books, this Rings of Power Galadriel, I hope it takes her out. You guys let me know what you think about this episode. Was it great? Or do you think it was the worst piece of dong you ever seen in your life? Get back at your boy Theta J. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell. Because every time you hit that notification bell, it makes your boy Theta J feel oh so good and oh so swell. And I'm out of here. Ninja vanish.